Hey guys, we're reading Among the Betrayed. We're on chapter 19. In the last chapter we read, chapter 18, Nina and the other kids were trying to figure out like how to get to the woods. And so they kind of discussed, where the sun was placed and, in the sky and which direction to go. So, chapter 19. The four of them trudged through the woods for hours. Nina got so tired that she stopped paying attention to where she was going, what the others said, or anything else. All that mattered was forcing herself to pick up one foot after the other, putting each foot down a little further ahead of the other. She remembered how old she told herself the kids might slow her down. What a joke. She was the slow one. She was the one that the others turned around and waited for impatiently. Finally, Aaliyah danced back to Nina and took her hand and said, "You can sit down now. We're going to wait while Percy and Matthias do something." Nina sank down to the ground and let her head flop back against a tree trunk. It felt better than any pillow. "Do you want something to eat?" she said drowsily. "Oh, yes," Aaliyah said. "Can I?" Nina untied the food bag from around her waist and opened it toward the little girl. "Take whatever you want," Nina said. "I think just something small," Aaliyah decided, "until the boys come back. They'll know how to make the food stretch out." Nina didn't even bother staying awake to see what Aaliyah chose. The next thing she knew, Aaliyah was gently sliding an orange slice into Nina's mouth. "This will give you energy," Aaliyah said. Nina chewed and swallowed. She hadn't had oranges much. This one was sweet and juicy, and one slice wasn't nearly enough. All it did was remind Nina how ravenous she was. Ravenous means like you're super hungry. She pawed through the food bag and pulled out a box of cereal. She ripped off the top and began pouring it into her mouth. She never gobbled anything down so quickly before in her life. "It's your food, not ours," Aaliyah said. "But shouldn't you save some to make sure we have enough for our trip?" In the dark, Nina hadn't even realized that Aaliyah could see what she was doing. Nina blushed and stopped chewing. She began eating so greedily that some of the cereal flakes had bounced off her face and fallen to the ground, ruined. "Did Percy and Matthias say you were the boss while they were gone?" Nina grumbled. "No," Aaliyah said. Nina began picking cereal out of the box, one flake at a time, and carefully placing each flake on her tongue. "Where are they anyway?" They can tell you when they get back," Aaliyah said uncertainly. This was maddening. Nina felt like throwing the whole box of cereal at the little girl. But just then she saw a glimmer of light bobbing through the woods, coming toward them. "Aaliyah, look!" Nina whispered. "It's the population police. They're following our trail. We've got to run." She jumped up, only barely managing not to spill the rest of the cereal. "Nina, relax. It's Percy Matthias," Aaliyah answered. "How do you know?" "That's our signal, the way the light jumps." Nina looked again, and it did seem like the light was bobbing in a particular pattern, twice to the right, once to the left, then twice to the right, once to the left again. "Where'd they get a flashlight?" Nina asked. Aaliyah didn't answer. A few minutes later, the light went out. A twig cracked behind Nina, and she stiffened, but it was only Percy and Matthias sneaking closer. "Safe?" Aaliyah asked. "Yep," Percy said. "Where were you? Where'd you get the flashlight?" Nina asked. "We found it. Wasn't that lucky?" Matthias said. Nina noticed he'd only answered only one of her questions, and she didn't entirely believe the answer. Flashlights were valuable, especially if you had batteries. She'd never seen one until she went away to school. Who would leave a flashlight just lying around in the woods? "Nina offered us food," Aaliyah said. Nina fought down her irritation. She hadn't offered them food. She shared it with Aaliyah. And why did she get the feeling that Aaliyah was mostly trying to change the subject? But she couldn't think of anything to do. Pulled out the food bag with an ungracious "here." Percy and Matthias each pulled out a box of raisins. "It's almost dawn," Percy said. "I think it's safe for us to rest for a while. We can take turns sitting sentry." "Sentry?" Nina asked. "You mean what?" "That means one person watches while the others sleep," Aaliyah said. Nina narrowed her eyes, thinking Aaliyah sounded like she knew all about sitting sentry. "I can go first," Nina said. "I got some sleep already while you were out finding things." She hoped they would notice the ironic twist she put on those words, but nobody said anything. Within minutes, it seemed, the others were sound asleep, curled up together in a heap on the ground. Nina stared out into half-darkness that seemed to be filled with mysteries. She wanted to turn on the flashlight, as if light could be company for her, but it was too dangerous. The light would only advertise their location to anyone who might be nearby, and the flashlight was too much of a mystery itself. Just thinking about it scared Nina. Nina turned around and looked at the other three kids. As the darkness faded, Nina watched the other kids' features emerge from the shadows. She spent so much time with them without light, she never had a chance to really study their faces. In sleep, Aaliyah looked sweet and cute and cuddly, even though she had a streak of dirt across her cheek. Her light hair was neatly pulled back into a ponytail at the nape of her neck. The nape is like the bottom part of your neck right here. Her dress was ragged and dirty, but the rips in the skirt had been mended with tiny, meticulous stitches, teeny tiny stitches. Nina wondered who had sewn those stitches, who had done Aaliyah's hair. Had Percy and Matthias been sitting in the darkness of the jail cell every day carefully combing Aaliyah's hair? Where had they learned to do that? Maybe Aaliyah had done it all by herself. Nina remembered how confidently she climbed the stairs back at the prison, how confidently she turned back and mouthed the words, all clear. Where had Aaliyah learned to be a lookout? Nina looked out into the woods again. After all, she was supposed to be the lookout now, but nothing stirred. Not so much as a fern frond moved in the wind. She turned her gaze back to the other kids, settling this time on Percy. Everything about Percy was sharp. His nose, the set of his mouth, the bony elbows jutting out of his oversized rolled up shirt sleeves. His dark hair was longish and tangled. If he was the one who served as Aaliyah's hairstylist, he used up all his effort on her and didn't do a thing for himself. Huddled against Percy's back, Matthias looked worried, even in his sleep. His eyes squinted together, and he moaned softly, as if he was having a bad dream. He turned his head from side to side, and his brown hair flopped down over his eyes. What did Matthias dream about? What did he think about? Who was he, anyhow? She wondered vaguely if he killed someone to get the flashlight. For a minute, she could almost imagine it. It didn't seem impossible. So now the population police wouldn't be looking just for escaped prisoners, but murderers as well. Nina shivered. Any way she looked at it, she was lost in a strange woods in danger, with 3 kids she didn't trust. For all she knew, they could be like Jason, ready to betray her at any second. Crazy ideas sprouted in her mind. Maybe they were planning to kill her and steal her food. Maybe they were trying to figure out a way to turn her into the population police and get a reward without getting caught themselves. Maybe Nina should be running away from them right now, as fast as she could. Aaliyah sighed softly in her sleep, and that sound was enough to stop Nina's panic. Nina wasn't sure what to think of Percy Matthias. After all, the last boy she trusted had betrayed her. But surely sweet, lovable Aaliyah couldn't be in the plot to hurt Nina, could she? Nina stared back into the woods again, a strange wild place with branches jutting out at odd angles and vines hanging down like curtains. Nina couldn't have said if this woods looked like the one by her school or not. She'd never seen the other woods by daylight, only groped through it in the dark, clinging to Jason's hand. The sunlit woods was a terrifying place. The leaves on the trees seemed to hide eyes. The underbrush was probably crawling with snakes. Worse yet, Nina had no idea which way she was supposed to go to get to safety. But Percy did. Matthias did. Probably even Aaliyah did. Whenever Nina wanted to trust the other kids or not, she had to. She couldn't survive without them. All right, guys, chapter 20 coming up.